Hello, friends. I welcome you to another podcast episode with me. In today's episode, I would like to talk to you about specifically a niche that I work on and what I really coach on. If you have ever been to my website and may have checked my bio, you would have seen that the title there is given as a grief coach. Now, grief coaching is also a very rare niche or specialty within coaching, and I chose it for several reasons. You can anytime go to my blog post where I have specifically listed down the many reasons for me being a grief coach. In today's podcast episode, I basically want to help and create awareness for anyone who's interested in getting coached on grief or personal loss. Because grief is universal, it's unique. We all undergo personal loss of some kind or the other at any given point in our life. And grief is something that we all experience regardless of who we are, which area or location of the world we come from. This particular specialty has taken a bit of coaches who've been taking it up to coach people on grief, specifically after the pandemic, where we have seen a loss of life and also of livelihood. But I have my own reasons of taking this as my niche and helping as many as I can with it. In this episode, I just basically very briefly would like to create awareness about exactly who I coach on. So, grief, friends, or personal loss can be of many types. Just to cite few examples, someone suffering from a chronic ailment or any of a key member in the family or somebody very close to you have been diagnosed with a chronic fatal disease can be experiencing grief. Personal loss, death is one of the most common example of grief. Besides this, job loss. When we lose a job, not at times when we willingly resign, but rather when forces beyond our control either push us out of the job or, in simple words, we are fired. This is also grief, and people who experience a job loss undergoes a lot of trauma, emotional trauma, and grief. So, friends, my category when I personally coach people, I divided it into two categories. One, people who have experienced job loss, and second is personal loss, that is loss due to death of a loved one or a close key member of your family or a significant other. Now, out of these two categories, again, as I said, grief is universal. We all experience grief at some or the other point in our life. And when we are stuck with it, we are gifted by God with such natural and beautiful system within our own self, and of course time, that really help us and assist us move out of our grieving phase. My coaching is not for those or trying to impose a particular system or process on somebody who's already grieving or has experienced a personal loss. My coaching is for those who, despite a passage of good amount of time and have been through a lot, still find themselves stuck in grief or stuck because of it. So, being stuck in life, there's always an underlying root cause to it, and 99.9% the issues are related to grief or a personal loss. We may not realize it as individuals or general anyone unless we really reach out to a coach and undergo a discovery session where we could connect the dots between the various causes and reasons of us experiencing being stuck in life. And when grief starts to influence us to such an extent that it starts to impact our other key areas of life. For example, somebody who may have lost a parent in teenage as an adult may have grown up into a person lacking confidence or emotional support. So anytime they may even have that potential and strength, but they find themselves falling short on really getting things done because they lack confidence, or there is somewhere a thought that I'm not enough lurking inside them. When these categories come to me for coaching, they figure out what exactly is the root cause that has kept them stuck in life, and more often than not, it always redirect to a grief or a personal loss they may have had incurred either in their past or in the recent times. So, friends, my coaching is for those who are finding themselves in situations where they are confused. They lack direction in life. They want to arrive at decisions. They lack confidence, or there is a desperate need to change. There is a worry behavior, there's a anger, there's frustration, irritation, and nothing of it makes sense. Why is it like that? That's where I enter in as a coach and help my clients really get back to the root, understand the real underlying reasons, and also we do not just end there. We together build a plan where, after knowing the reasons, they now know what needs to be done or what could be the best method to move or go forward in life. So what actions one need to take, or what sort of changes one need to make, so that the the area where we find ourselves stuck, we can easily unplug ourselves, hurting us the least in the most effective way, and then move ahead in life. So this is just a very brief glimpse and a view of how, as a grief coach, I help my clients. Now, there are other category which I just mentioned about personal loss. So obviously, when somebody has experienced a personal loss, like a death of a close relative or a significant other or a key member in your life who you had a very close connection with, this category of grief requires a different approach. It's not here where you build plans or achieve a particular goal. Instead, here I follow a methodology as propagated by an expert in grief. She is a very well-known name into this particular category, known as Elizabeth Ross, and her famous 5 stages of grief that she has given to us, to the grief illiterate world, and assisted us to really follow that framework, which help people in a very effective way to overcome bereavement. So when I have my clients reaching out to me, particularly facing a personal loss and finding themselves bereaving for more than the required time, this grief having a deep impact on their other areas, like for example, somebody has been seeing a failure in health, or too much of chronic stress, anxiety, or some sort of any other disease that has kind of trying to take build up, is because of the bereavement and grief that's been going on for a very long time. I help such people where, through coaching and through Elizabeth 5 stages of grief, helping them move out of that dark phase where it's not like any way we can reduce the pain of losing a personal someone so close, so precious to us, but understanding it in a way where we could kind of move ahead with the memories, with what has been lost, and live a life with having some kind of perspective on what we have just lost. Because people who die would never come back, and those who are alive, the life goes on till they meet their appointed hour. So till then, coaches like us provide assistance, helping people really move through their tough phases of life. So that's about the second friends. Now, besides these two, there are various ways where we experience loss. But since grief is universal and at the same time unique, I often leave it open to my clients, where in the discovery call itself, we discover where exactly are the root causes underlying, holding them back, keeping them stuck, confused, irritated, worried, stressed, and even bereaving. So, this is how I really carry on these two categories of grief coaching with my clients. If you have any further questions or if you know anyone who you think can benefit, I'll just share a link below where I also do a free discovery sessions with my clients so they could connect and we can speak. And as they experience how best they can get benefited, equally I get to learn how best I can assist them. So feel free to share the link that I'm going to leave it in the comment box, and hopefully it might come as handy and beneficial, adding a lot of value to anyone who's either bereaving, is into deep grief, or has been finding themselves stuck due to job loss. Thank you, friends. Thank you for being my audience, and I'll talk to you soon in another episode.